Hello!
Hello.
Hello from Memorial Bridge.
How big a crowd is out there on the bridge?
Oh,
Hi, David.
these are my transition glasses. I'm old. It's not. Our grandchildren are listening. You gotta know. They're all waiting and reflecting for you. And they're filling up all the ground around the Washington Monument. And then behind us, there's the Lincoln Memorial.
This is what democracy looks like.
And that's what it looked like yesterday. I tell you, old Hexeth tried to jam our cell phones, but we still got through. Our live stream yesterday was a big old mess with the cell service going in and out, but I got a lot of good pictures. This is one right here. I love this is actually one of my favorite. It's just sort of simple sign this woman had here. Rejecting tyrants since 1776.
Yep.
So I always like anything that gets the historic angle in on the tyrants. that was a good picture. And then this is the one that I look back. This is before we had to get out. We had to get out of this crowd yesterday to get cell service to get on our live stream going, because in the middle of this crowd, I could not get cell service. So this was before I had to leave the crowd to go get the cell service. But that's this picture's important too, because in the background there is that's the Lee house up there. That was Robert E. Lee's well, actually it was his wife's house at the top of Arlington Cemetery, and then right below that is the JFK grave. And the reason it's important, right there in the middle, just beyond that crowd between the house and that is where dumbass wants to build that gigantic arch, and it's going to block the view of the Kennedy grave there.
But we know that's what he wants to do, because
I think there's something to that. I think there's something to that's part of the thinking, I believe. But anyway, that's the scene there, and but that's how big a crowd it was. I mean, where I was, at Memorial Bridge, I'd guess around 4,000 people. And
then they were also coming from other areas.
The way DC's set up, it's designed perfectly for this, thanks to Lafayette on the spokes of a wheel. So all the roads, all the main roads, all angle in toward the center, which is the National Mall. So all these neighborhoods around the city can gather together, and then everybody walk to the same location toward the center. And
yay, Lafayette!
They ended up.
Hi, Winterland.
Every time I drive, I curse Lafayette.
Oh, well, fair.
Because the spokes of the wheel and all the circles that it created are a nightmare. Oh, I see. Hey, Lafayette.
And Mishu.
Winter.
You're right, Mishu.
Your video that you posted here in a minute. I appreciate you calling that to our attention. Winter posted a video from German public television about Fort Trump, this gigantic fort this base they're going to build in Poland, and to entice him to do it, Poland's offering to name it for Trump. Anyway, Winter posted that. Mish, you president of the USA is a pedophile, rapist, fraudster. On that point, that reminds me, there's a BBC thing floating around. It's kind of old. Let me go. It goes back a few years, but it's getting a lot of recirculation now. what did they call it? They called it, it was called Trump Is Trump a Sex Pest? Which is what, real British sounding way of saying it. And now that you bring that up, Michu, let's get in some trouble here, and I'll pull that up, and we'll sample a couple of minutes of it, because I haven't even really watched a whole lot of it, and it's all about his
ego.
I gotta put it on this. Gotta figure out how to get it on the screen here. Why don't I have it on the screen?
Oh,
here it is. Oh, and I gotta pull that down. I wish this ain't much complicated.
Yeah, it sounds like
Here we
it.
go. Almost there. There we go. Here it is. This is the British Is Trump a Sex Pest? It was all about how he hoarded around with all these models and something.
There was a lot of cocaine around. There was a lot of alcohol. They were all older men. These were guys who could easily be their fathers 2 times over. You had men in their 50s, 60s on up. It's kind of like a feeding frenzy. The girls were there as consumables. Let's just call it that. This guy was... It was like a predator in action. The next day or days after, we would hear about it. He'd brag about it to his friends, and then he'd get around
Trump.
That he scored, maybe 1 or 2 girls at a time, which is what he loved to do.
It was just disgusting. I felt like I was in the presence of a shark we're getting ready to roll his eyes back in his head and bite me. That's how I felt. It was, get the hell out of here.
Had you ever seen any of that?
I haven't.
I hadn't either. I don't. It goes on for. Let's see it. It's about an hour and a half. Well, almost an hour and a half. It was done a few years ago, but I just caught it because there's some clips of it floating around on TikTok now. It's making some sort of comeback.
Well, I wonder.
And getting circulated, but I don't know why I hadn't heard of it before. But it's a BBC documentary.
Interesting.
And it goes on about all these, and it interviews all these. I mean, it's not just hearsay. They interview actual models who that he sleazed on back in the day.
It just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
It just seems like something that ought to be getting a little more circulation.
Well, and that's the thing is that should we, and this is, I think we should be more outraged than we are a little bit about it. But at the same time, we just know his patterns.
Yeah.
And we know what some things have said about it, but that's all we know. Really. And it stinks because he's done things. He has. He's trying so hard to hide everything. And I can't even think of what despicable things are in the rest of those files that we will never see because the DOJ does not want to release them.
I think they did this in the first administration, I guess.
Oh.
And because it's saying here that says here the White House didn't respond, but I think this is the first term.
It was just disgusting.
Probably.
I felt like I was in the presence of a shark we're getting ready to roll his eyes back in his head and bite me. That's how I felt. It was just like, get the hell out of here.
I don't know.
Makes me sad because no one should ever have to feel that way.
He said, "How old are you?" And I said, 17. He goes, "Oh, great. So you're not too old, not too young. That's just great."
That's Trump talking, she said.
Ew.
I remember particularly seeing him at a party at a house in Miami This particular party, there were 4 men and probably 50.
Hi, Jack.
That gets anywhere or not. Hey, Jack.
Hey.
Oh, it's got somebody new here. Peer power. If the nose is full of idiots thinking there is a king in America, we already voted out the president who thought he was a king. Oh, okay. All right. So noted. And congrats on the protest. Looks like there's been no kings free since 77. You guys did it. Okay, Chuck. So just to clarify, you're against Ray because it's kind of, well, I tell you, Chuck's raring to go on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna ask Chuck for the 15th time. Tell me what you like about Donald Trump while you're at it. Listen to this guy. I thought of you, Chuck, when I saw this video that them interviewing this guy at CPAC.
Did everything he said he was going to do, and he did it.
What are some of those things that he said?
Simple question. The guy says he did everything he said he was going to do. So, simple follow up. Well, what? Like what? Listen to this.
And then he did. He was just one thing. One thing he said, and then he did.
He caught me off guard there. I just
caught me off guard.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what he.
There is a clip somewhere that I saw this morning where Trump said he surrounds himself purposely with people that are idiots, so it makes him feel better.
But he did one of his standard things like that. Afterwards he's, well, he always does it when he knows he said
just
it.
joking.
He goes, well, I was just kidding. And then after he says that, then he said, not really. So
yeah. Backhanded compliment.
That's a standard move.
Backhanded. Oh my god.
And that's it. That's all you got. Okay, Chuck. What's he done about that? Anything? Has he done anything about that other than yap about it and get people like you all excited about something he's not actually done?
Or something that actually doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Except in some mind.
If that's all you got, friend, go back to the drawing board. Well, I got you.
I guess here's the answer to Chunk is, oh my God, they're going to rape people in prison. No.
It's been happening no matter what sex you are in prison, to be honest.
Yes, you can be raped by anybody.
Look, there was a prisoner. Actually, this is an Amy Comey Barrett thing. There was a girl that was in jail that got raped by one of the guards, and it went to Amy Comey Barrett's courtroom before she was on the Supreme Court, and she said that the security guard did not have training on how not to rape.
Oh Lord. I got your choir here, Jack, from Sunday Serendipity this morning. I was so pleased. I found out that this group they allow free and unlimited use on YouTube, so there's no copyright with this group.
Okay, well, it's a church group in England that recorded it.
It's very pretty.
Yeah. So. And as a matter of fact, because of that, here it is. Let me go get this. I pulled up because I wanted to put it on as an appreciation for no copyright issues. I went and pulled this side here that's pretty recent, of just in the last few days. They had posted this where they are showing. This is where you can go to give them a donation. It's their 25th anniversary. It's a United Kingdom. I don't know what city, but in choir called Tenebrae, Tenebrae, Tenebrae. And they've been around for 25 years, and they're having a little fundraising drive here. So I'll put that on there. Let's see, Tenebrae dash choir. But how'd you come across this for Sunday Serendipity?
Basically, I was sitting there thinking, okay, we're on Palm Sunday. I don't know anything. I'm not a religious person, so I don't know that much about that stuff. So I just started Googling and found this. I found an NPR discussion about it, this particular thing, and that it was played in the Sistine Chapel. It's played as the Pope prays. They finish up the service with this particular piece.
Oh, yeah.
The Pope is praying while they're singing, and then they are slowly extinguishing the candles until the room becomes dark.
Oh.
And I thought that was kind of cool.
I should ask my stepdad about it, because he is a Catholic and his brother is a Catholic priest. So they're twins. So everywhere you go, they think they're the other person.
Oh yeah, Winter. Is that they're the ones that do those really funny videos, Winter? I think you're talking about the Marsh family from England.
Yeah.
But you're right. They do some really great stuff. Good comedy, good political satire. If we're thinking about the same thing. But Winter put some neat stuff on here. This is a completely different, switching tracks entirely here. Get back up to where Winter put this on. Share this instead. This fort in this military base that I hadn't heard about that they're building in Poland for U.S. troops. Here it is. Here's the video. Pull that down. Put this up. Yeah. Winter posted this morning. It's a big old base that Poland wants so badly. They're actually offering to pay for it and call it Fort Trump to get Trump on board. So that'll get Trump on board.
Wir fahren nach Niedersachsen. Genau ist und was die Menschen.
So that was an actual thing. It's hard to figure out.
Wolisławec im Westen Polens hat weniger als 40.000 Einwohner und einen US-Stützpunkt direkt in der Stadt.
Anyway, Winter posted that this morning, and I figured out how you could get the English captions on it. I've learned a new thing about YouTube that for us to be mindful of if we get foreign language stuff embedded on Trail Mix is when for the embedded videos, you lose the option to change the language of the caption for some damn reason. So if you click the actual video here, right here, like you see here that I'm doing,
hier gebaut wird, gehen wir davon aus, dass viele amerikanische Soldaten mit ihren Ehemännern und Ehefrauen hierher kommen werden. Sie leben dann mit uns zusammen. Ihre Kinder spielen mit polnischen Kindern. Deshalb müssen die Kinder Englisch sprechen.
Alan Comfort kam 2017 als US-Soldat nach Polen und verliebte sich hier. Inzwischen arbeitet er als Englischlehrer. In Wolisławec hat er sich von Anfang an wohl gefühlt.
They probably want to try to get that extra ad revenue.
I don't know. Sometimes I think they try to do so much. I don't know. They're linked.
What's the deal? Never attribute to evil when stupidity works.
Yeah, that's what I said, Pierre. For the Polish are in their statement that they in announcing their push for this, they said that they wanted to call it Fort Trump, and the reporting is that they did that because they knew that'd be the best way to get Trump behind the idea, and I'm sure that
Pierre ought to be embarrassed about that.
Yeah.
that our leader can be sucked up to that easily.
Yep. Just by putting his name on stuff makes him happy.
And it happens over and over.
Handing him a goddamn somebody else's award and giving it to him. The Venezuela gal, that was just beyond belief.
Now, can we also explain to Chunk about that back in the day, the Democratic Party was considered Republican? Because he's trying to say that Democrats are enabling rape of women by allowing women in jail, men in women's jails, which he needs to stop with that narrative because it's not actually happening. And if it does happen, unfortunately, that happens in prison. Men get raped in prison by other men. Women get raped in prison by other men, or by guards and other women. It happens.
Here's the thing. And you got to understand what Chunk is coming up with is just, you've got to figure out a way to deal with it without using logic. I mean, they're going to keep making it up. I was reading Annie Applebaum's newsletter today, and she was talking about what's going on in Hungary. And they are doing AI-generated videos just making shit up wholesale.
Yeah.
They are talking about Ukraine is going to invade Hungary.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm going to dig into that real soon because that election's coming up next month, pretty early next month, I think. Did she say it? I'm sure she did. I think it's coming up in early April, the election in Hungary. I'm going to get into that big time whenever I get a moment.
I think Chunk's got a sexual problem.
Well, I want to get back to Winter. Winter, I appreciate you getting that. I want sources from other places, all kinds of places, and I appreciate you doing that. And DW, I follow DW. DW is a great channel. I had a question though. Is the one that you put on here, is that DW or another public? Because DW is also public television in Germany, and one that I keep up with. This DW channel is really great. I think you'd like this, Jack. They do a lot of good stuff on the Ukraine, and that I don't see in our media so much. They don't take sides. I don't mean that. You just get a lot of detail about Ukraine that I don't get in our media, especially nowadays. Our media is just about forgotten about Ukraine.
Yeah.
Back in the old Usenet days, we had different people who would post on one subject over and over and over and over. They would, if it even got remotely close, they had it on cut and paste. And the term we used, that is a form of trolling, but the term we used was net kook.
Net kook.
If you just absolutely, it's like that's the only thing you can talk about. So, understand your trolls and what they are.
I like that. Here's this DW. They have this section of short. And they do these little short. And the Pope is the American Pope. He's getting pretty tough on this Iran war.
Gesù,
Re
della pace. Un Dio che rifiuta la guerra.
When is Trump going to go after the Pope? That's coming any minute now. I would say. That's coming. I can't wait to see what he's going to say about the Pope, because the Pope's
one of those
harsh about it.
He's one of those Chicago liberals, so
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what they're going to do. I mean, because he's hard. He's been harsh with Trump on immigration stuff, and the Iran war. So that's coming to blows. Those two are coming to blows here any day now, I would say. Winter, I don't know how much you're interested in. Oh, I already said it. Where's the? Oh, here. There's also one. This one. Okay. So ZDF is different than DW. Okay. Oh, okay. It is also, as I said. Oh, okay. All right. Huh. Well, this DW, I like this shorts for my attention span. They got a whole section here of just their shorts. You can go. Everything's under a minute. I like that.
See, that's just a bit. The shorts drive me nuts. I wish there was some way I could block them on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really don't care for them, mainly because the ones that they offer you are just idiotic anyway. I don't even find them entertaining.
Well, I got to get this to go back now that we've had these. Oh yeah, Fran. Oh, you're absolutely right. Now you're sending me on another distraction here, Winter. I love France 24. I keep them.
Yeah, they do that on my local public TV of an afternoon. It's pretty good. It basically rivals the BBC as far as being good news. What do we do? Lose Craig?
I think so.
Then you're gonna have to pick up the slack here, Katie.
I guess so.
No, I'm back. I got so excited about getting France 24. I turned myself off.
Chunk. Actually, no, it does not. Believe it or not. I live in Minnesota, one of the greatest places on earth, that somebody decided to attack because of fake information. So, no, my state does not do that.
Hey, Katie.
Yeah.
You don't answer those people.
Well, he's so obsessed.
I mean, if they ever, all they're doing is trying to get you to say something.
Well, they're also helping us reach a wider audience. That's the other thing.
Sorry.
I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it.
Well, we can tolerate him that way.
Oh,
I mean,
Chunk.
the thing about it is,
look up your
these
real
guys,
information.
The YouTube, the more these people get on here and chatter, the more YouTube thinks, that people, that more people should see the channel. So the more they get on there and chatter, because YouTube isn't paying attention to what they say, just the engagement. So the more the engagement, the more people they show us to. So it's great. They're a big help. They're good for ratings.
That's why most comment sections in most places are unreadable.
Yeah, that's what makes ours so unique. I keep telling people about. I mean, every time I get somebody to really pay attention to our comment sections, they realize what I'm talking about, because comment sections have such a bad reputation. That a lot of people just don't even look at comment sections on most sites. And I have a struggle trying to get people to look at ours.
I think
once they do, they realize it.
What you do and what other successful comment sections do, like the folks at the Bulwark have a pretty good comment sections on there.
Yes, they do.
Oh, do they? Oh, I watch a lot of their videos.
They engage their commenters. And they even engage the idiots and tell them to shut up. And if somebody gets out of line for their basic rules, they'll just say, you quit doing that. We're removing that comment. And if you do it again, we're removing you, you know.
Yeah.
But they engage their people. And I think I got on Stacey Abrams' newsletter, and she did a deal on how to organize, was doing it. And she said something about, she said, well, give your opinions in the comment section. So I did, but she never engaged any of her. She only had 3 or 4 commenters, and she could engage them, but she never did.
Most shows do not actually talk to their commenters unless they donate or send like a super chat thing or something like that.
Yeah, they create those super chat things. Yeah. But now here's France 24 right now reporting on U.S. troops arriving in the region, and they'll probably, if it's like others I've seen, they'll have more details than our media.
Dr. H.A. Hellier, Senior Fellow at the Royal United Services Institute for Defense and Security Studies. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, as we've been discussing, it's been 4 weeks of fighting. President Trump has said that the U.S. has all but obliterated Iranian military abilities. He's portraying Iran as a defanged adversary. The Israeli military is saying that it's rendered roughly 70% of Iran's hundreds of missile launchers inoperable. And yet, Iran continues to carry out devastating attacks, launching 20 to 30 missiles a day. So how do we square what's happening on the ground with what's been said by the officials?
We don't.
Thank you very much for having me. So I think that this simply reinforces that we've been told many times different things by the American administration over the past month that have to be not taken, unfortunately, at face value.
That's a nice way of saying they're lying.
Well, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, yes, they knocked out what they would consider conventional military. They don't have Iran doesn't have a navy. Well, Iran didn't have much of a navy anyway. So they knocked out the navy. They knocked out their boats and their ships and their gunboats and whatever. But now the Iranian navy is launching little suicide boats, not with people in them, but with the remote control boats.
Yeah. They're so spread out. See,
the
thing is,
and their rockets are fairly prim. They have a lot of primitive rockets that they can launch from almost anywhere. You can't. You knocked out their rocket, the site where their big launchers are, but they've still got capacity.
Well, if you really now this MI6, this is the former head of MI6. You don't see these dudes, even the retired ones, out much. And I tell you, the picture he talks about how our type of warfare versus theirs. I mean, it really raises. I think it's a fair question whether Iran's actually winning right now. But listen to how
the US underestimated the task, and I think, as of about 2 weeks ago, lost the initiative to Iran. In practice, the Iranian regime has...
Now, when the former head of MI6 says you've lost the initiative in Iran, he's almost saying you're losing the war, buddy. I don't care how many things you're blowing up.
Been more resilient than I think anyone would have expected. They took some good decisions, actually, as early as last June, about dispersing their military capability and delegating the authority for the use of those weapons, which has given them significant extra resilience against this incredibly powerful air campaign. They have embarked on what's technically called horizontal escalation, i.e. firing rockets at anybody within range, which at the time, honestly, Shawshank, I thought was nuts, but in fact has been a very good way of putting in direct price on the US. Sort of worked. And then they've understood the significance of the energy war and held the Straits at threat and globalized, and essentially not internationalized, just globalized the conflict in a.
Because one difference is they've been planning for this for 20 years. Donald Trump planned for this for about 20 minutes.
Well, I think that's the thing. And Donald Trump and his advisors, and I'm not going to say the military is just following orders and, when they do their plans, but the whole strategic part of it is nobody has learned anything from the wars we've got into in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, look what a mess Iraq turned into. Donald Trump has 5,000 Marines, and he's going to put them on that island, and they're going to be targets.
Yep.
Well, that's another thing. This island, what do they call it? Karga, that island. I mean, what it's going to take to take that island is a whole nother thing. I mean, they're booby trapping it and everything else.
They can probably capture the island fairly easily.
But the problem is, then what? First of all, there's 20,000 people on that island, which they've been making it sound like it's this desolate place with nothing but
it's not that big.
That's 20,000 people you got to deal with if you take the island.
Yeah, but that's not the problem. The problem is they're on an island. And the problem is there are only 5,000 Marines, and they're facing a country of what's the population in Iran?
90 million.
There you go. And they're facing
90 million. I mean, that's the other thing. Going into this, I did not realize until we got into this. I didn't realize Iran's population is that big.
Yeah.
Katie, your man Walz.
Yeah.
Stepped up yesterday.
Yes, he did.
And and this stuff that he said about the Somali, this is pretty brave, and he's right, and he's going to get a lot of flack for it. But
add a special.
I mean, the thing about him is, I hope he doesn't go away for good. I'd like to see him back on the scene in some capacity. But here he is yesterday at the No Kings.
Add a special thank you and a special acknowledgement that we will never leave the side of our Somali Minnesotans. Here's our pledge to you. Our Somali Minnesotans, your great-grandchildren will still be here when that orange clown is in the dustbin of history. You will be here.
And that's why I love him.
Yeah, he can turn a good phrase, can't he?
Yeah.
I don't know. His big problem is he's getting old.
He's 61.
He's 61?
Yeah.
Well, that ain't so old, Jack. Come on. What are we? I always have to look
or maybe it's just the fact he looks old.
He looks older than he is, yeah, for sure. But no, he's
I thought he was closer to my age and Craig's age, but
nope.
Well,
I
tell you, now that I thought about you, Jack, here yesterday. I pulled. Where did I put it? Where did I tell you I put that, Katie, when I was looking for that earlier? The video. Oh, it was under next. It was under next. That's where I put it. Next. Here it is. Here's what the No Kings people did a Zoom call today, and they're having another one Tuesday, Jack, because I you brought up with this King's rally, what then? I mean, how do you do more? And they're real focused on that. Here's some of what they're
one
saying.
of the millions of Americans who attended Saturday's historic No Kings protest, and you're wondering what's next. We've got to keep this momentum going and start organizing all the new people who gathered with us at more than 3,300 nationwide events on Saturday. Join our mass call on Tuesday night to discuss our 2 major initiatives after No King's Day. First, we'll be launching nationwide meetings to welcome protesters into ongoing political organizing. This is how we help people who are politically awakened by No Kings to get involved with sustained local actions around ICE monitoring, election protection, and non-cooperation. We put together a toolkit to make it easy to organize your local meeting. Second, we're gearing up for a national day of economic disruption on May Day. After building a large,
Now, I don't know how I feel about. I have mixed feelings about this. Katie, you all had one in Minnesota that
we've done 2.
It was deemed successful. That
yes.
How did that go? I mean, this general economic strikes. I can't. I like targeted ones where, like Disney, when with Kimmel. That one had a real impact and it was focused. But this idea of a general strike, you're keeping your kids out of school and everything else, I don't know.
When we did it, it was no school, no work, no shopping. So the first one we did in January, and it just so happened my husband had that day off and my son was sick from school. So boom, that was fine. And we just didn't buy anything that day. The next time we unfortunately had car problems that week. And so we had to, pay for our car repair, which technically isn't shopping, but, and then pay bills. So we didn't necessarily stick to it, but we were able to do it. And it was great economic impact throughout Minnesota because those people who can't get out to protest at the big No Kings protests or any of the protests could then do an impact from home, essentially. So, and I know
the stuff that they're doing that's more focused on building networks and turnout for the midterms is what I'm hoping to see them really do a good job.
I think for out here in, let's say, rural red areas where I live, is the protest let people gather and identify each other.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I keep harping on. In the worst county, the most red county in Missouri, 1 in 7 people are voting Democrat. So you're sitting in the diner and there's a dozen people there. There are 2 Democrats.
Yeah.
So but they don't know each other.
Right.
And so this helps some. But you've got to step up.
And they're doing the follow-up. They're collecting the emails of people, and because I signed up when they first got started, and they don't overdo it. They don't send you too many, but they keep you posted on things, and I can tell they're gearing up to use these email lists they're building, and they're now up to about 10 million emails, I think. And they've got them, collated into what districts they're in states and so on. So they're going to be able to do a pretty good get out the vote drive and get volunteers. They're signing up volunteers. I saw sign up sheets for people, for the Virginia people. There was a Virginia table and a Maryland table. I didn't see a DC one because nobody here votes for Republicans anyway. But they had a table for Virginia and Maryland for sign up for volunteers to work the polls in November. And I thought, that's great. That's exactly what these things need to be focused on.
Well, my fear is it's going to be a little bit like what I run into dealing with local politics. Is I got ended up getting my name on the list, and now all I get is different groups begging for money. And
so far that has not happened with these people. So I'm impressed by that. Because
I don't mind supporting people and stuff like that, but I would much rather see them sitting there saying, "We're gathering here. Why don't you come?"
Yeah.
But it's like that. Like I say, I got one from a group that was trying to do education, political education, and they couldn't even put together a decent website.
Hey, Chunk, I actually did research on it. And the thing is, you're saying biological men. The trans population of the United States only equates to about 1% of population. And these are women. They are trans women that, yes, have been put into female prisons. But what you're not understanding is that they are not in the same area. Also, there is a really good rate of actually transgendered women being raped by cisgendered men. So I'd be more afraid of the actual biological men that are not transitioning than the actual transitioned female. So, yeah. Republicans can go for that as much as they want, but the thing is that many of there's 5 prisoners in Shakopee prison that are transgendered women, and they all have gone through the surgery and such. And this is the thing, is that trans women are women, trans men are men. Just get off your high horse.
I just don't understand why they worry about it so much. Anyway, I want to look at before we go. CPAC had their poll yesterday, and it kind of stood to reason that Vance would do well, and there are reasons this is surprising. I can get into, but Rubio did pretty well.
For the Republican nominee in 2028. The annual CPAC convention in Texas wrapped up on Saturday. Organizers released a pretty revealing poll. Attendees were asked to make their pick for the president in 2028, and the results surprised some people. CNN Steve Contorno has details.
On the final day of the Conservative Political Action Conference outside of Dallas, organizers released the annual straw poll looking at who attendees believe should be the Republican Party's nominee for president in 2028. Now, this is not a scientific poll, but it did include about 1,600 respondents, and the favorite amongst the majority of people here was Vice President J.D. Vance. Perhaps no surprise, given that he is the most obvious heir apparent to Donald Trump. But perhaps in a surprise, the second place vote getter was Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who finished with 35% of the vote. Rubio is someone who didn't even get out of single digits in this poll a year ago. Yeah. He's also someone who has clashed at times with this crowd. However,
see, that surprised me because this group's never liked Rubio. And I found it very interesting that he got that high a number at this thing, because they've never been fans of Rubio. So his work, he's done a lot of work to make them think he's one of them, and apparently it's working. That's not bad.
Must be. I don't even understand Rubio anymore. Barely did.
Yeah.
I always thought they were trying to run him as a Bush Light candidate when back in 2016.
Oh, they were. I mean, he was a Bush mentor. He was, a Bush guy through and through when he was in Florida politics. Absolutely, yeah.
But other than that, he's too short. You got to be over 6 foot tall.
I laugh, but well, I'll tell you what, that's whatever you are, that's Stone Villain. No Kings Rally did great. I didn't see one the whole day. Well, if you were around yesterday, if you were around 44 people in the grocery store, one of them went to a rally. That's how I did the math this morning. Is
I have
one and 44 Americans showed up at a rally yesterday because there were 8 million protesters divided by 349 million Americans. That's 2.9% of the population. You do the math, and you get roughly 1 in 44 Americans. So we did this little graphic here of a grocery store. There's actually 44 people in this image, and that's one guy in the middle is a pro. So I mean, that's how many protesters were. I don't think that's too bad. 1 out of every 44 Americans showed up at a rally yesterday. That's not so bad. So what? Actually, that's not true. Say what, dog? I don't know which one you went to. I don't think you went to any of them. I think you're just repeating something. But there were a lot of young people yesterday when I went here in D.C. In fact, what's motivating them is the war. I saw a whole lot more young people yesterday than I did at the one in September, October. I think it was October. Because of the war, and they were holding, the young people I saw were all holding signs about the war. So I think old dumbass dear leader has managed to ignite a younger generation to these No Kings rallies with his.
Well, I know there were some of the pictures were quite big, good rallies. I saw a picture of the one in Kansas City, and I don't know whether they took it early or not. If they took it while the main part of the rally going, they had a pretty light turnout. But you don't know when they take the picture on those.
Yeah, those are always hard to gauge. But I mean, there were cities like Fayetteville, Arkansas, and even Berea, Kentucky, which is a college town, but small town in Kentucky. Had a big increase from the last one. I had a cousin who went to that one. Winter's not wrong. If it was only young people, you would accuse them of being unemployed, lazy people. Yeah, and so what if it was all mostly older people? What difference? They're still Americans, and there's still 1 in 44 Americans showing up. And
I think from the pictures I have seen around the nation, it was a pretty mixed group. Probably more white people than people of color, but then,
We had over 120,000 people show up at the St. Paul Capitol, or the Capitol.
Yeah, Minnesota's was.
I'm tired of them saying it's Minneapolis. No, it was St. Paul.
I know. Poor old St. Paul. We always forget about St. Paul.
She's the forgotten sister. Minneapolis gets all the glory.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of like Dallas, Fort Worth?
Probably. Dallas gets all the glory. Fort Worth is in the corner crying.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much.
Kind of like Kansas City having to constantly say that's Missouri. Not Kansas.
Thank you, Kevin Cavs, bringing us some facts here.
Thank you, Kevin.
Where are you at, Kevin? By the way, folks, before we go, like I always say, we just do this for an hour every day, but the rest of the day and night, we're over here at trailmix.cc. So, and it's easy to comment.
Yeah, gas is coming down a little bit in our neighborhood.
Mine is $4.50 here at the end of the street.
Yeah. I'm seeing some, and it's a little difficult, but because they have 3 different or 4 different blends, including the alcohol. The
right.
Alcohol
you have that there.
Yeah, and it's
Kevin's in Wisconsin.
Hey, neighbor.
We got now is Wisconsin next to Minnesota, Katie?
Yes, it is. We kind of hate each other.
Oh, no, y'all just kidding. You're just like,
no.
I was growing up in Orlando, we hated Miami.
Yeah, well, it's 2 different states, and unfortunately, there's a big rivalry with the Vikings and Packers. So.
Oh yeah, I noticed they had them internationally there. I didn't go and catch any of the coverage of the ones internet. Oh, Kevin's back. It's cold here and energy prices are sky high.
It's a friendly rivalry. You guys have better beer and cheese. We'll admit that.
Yeah, that's a great part of the world. Minnesota and Wisconsin are great states.
Yeah, but Minnesota's got cheap wild rice.
Yes, we do.
I'm telling you.
Oh, by the way, it's wild turkey season. We had wild turkeys all over the place yesterday.
Oh,
yep, running in my backyard.
Get my wild turkey hat out. Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's getting spring.
When my dad first,
except it's okay. So the high today is going to be 68, and tomorrow 69. But then by Thursday we're getting snow. This is my life.
You're still gonna get more snow.
It tried to snow on Friday. It was trying real hard, but it didn't. So I don't know. It's a volatile time. Let's just say I'm going to be using up a lot of my edibles.
Just scrolling through a few of the pictures NPR got from the rallies yesterday. This one here, they end ice. This must have been in Minnesota, was it?
Nope, that was Boston.
Oh yeah, it does. It says here it's Boston. They carved big blocks of ice into ice.
We've learned we bring anti-Semite protesters to Minnesota that knock them down, and then they get arrested and don't show up for court dates. So now he has a warrant out.
Well, check out this Atlanta. Look there at Atlanta. Look at that crowd on the bridge there in Atlanta. It's all over.
Did you see St. Paul?
Several of the cities had pretty huge turnouts.
And we
had well organized
all over. We had protests all over the state. Yesterday when I went to the hardware store and stuff, there was a protest right down the block. So we honked our horn and waved our hands and yelled out "No Kings" out the window to them. And I was in another part of that was in a different part of the suburbs. Then I went into the Twin Cities suburbs, like the ones right around, and there was a couple of them sitting on the sidewalk with their chairs and their signs and stuff. So we honked at them, and Liam got all excited. He's like, "We're honking our horn. Why are we honking?"
I'm so glad the organizers are focused on this, on the midterms and how this builds toward that. And I think they're talking about doing another one in the summer closer to the midterms. But to me, this has been like a pep rally, at a high school game. It's like a pep rally. It's an important part of the process, but it's not the only part. You still have to win the game. You still got to play the game and win the game.
Well, I'm hoping, that they actually share a little of their contacts with some of the local Democrats too.
Yeah, that's what they say. They're working with local organizers and sharing information, and they're real focused on it. I mean, these people that have done. Yeah. And the thing about it is, when you say it was organized, it was organized. But in terms of crowd building, they don't do a whole lot. I mean, they don't have to. I mean, they did spend a fair amount of money on. I think it was $1 million on online advertising. But that's for the whole country, the whole internet. I mean, that sounds like a lot of money, but in that game, it's not huge, massive.
Well, they got a lot of help from the labor unions, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Labor unions are very involved. And before anybody brings up Soros again, I looked that up 3 years ago. His foundation gave Indivisible, the organizers of No Kingsbury, $3 million 3 years ago. He's made one donation to the people that organized No Kings, and that was 3 years ago.
And all it was for organization, and
it was $3 million, and I'm sure that was spent a long time ago.
That's what he tends to do, is do seed money, isn't it?
Yeah.
He doesn't do a lot of sustaining money.
Do you even know what the definition of communism is, Chunk?
Don't ask
anybody
him.
he doesn't
don't know how to.
He's
you know what? That I think I'll wind up with this dude. Well, I'm gonna wind up with some of our protest videos from going back to earlier protests that we had in DC, and Jack was with me for some of them. Jack and Jamie back in the day.
I tell you what, yesterday I started listening, and boy, I tell you what, that wind in your microphone.
Oh, and it wasn't just the wind. I've done an autopsy. I'll get into it later on how to do this the next time. Well, what the problem is, but real quickly, unless it was Hegseth, which could have been, but when you get them in those crowds, and then when your cells signal, you get a weaker signal, because I was seeing my little bars dropping down to 2 and 3, from 5, and when that happens, Yardstream, which is our platform here for these live streams, what it does is it downgrades the pixels and it cuts down on the bit rate, and in order to keep you going. And it'd almost be better if they just turned you off altogether, because when they do that, they're trying to at least keep you alive, keep your signal going. But then all the video gets choppy and the audio gets weird, and it's useless anyway. So it'd almost be better if they shut you down completely.
But I mean, it was the wind noise, because I can barely hear. I basically have everything turned up so I can hear the conversation.
Yeah.
And then, boy, that wind noise is just unbearable. And so I turned it on so I didn't have to listen to the wind noise as much, and I couldn't hear anything else.
Yeah, it was a mess. It was just a mess. Oh. That's why I made this sizzle reel out of it to make.
So you're gonna have to get one of those special mics that has all that foam around it.
What I'm gonna have to do is just video these things separately and edit them. There's some other things we can do, but I can't do it the way I tried to do it yesterday again, that's for sure. But anyhow, we learn, we wander, and we wonder, and we wander, and we learn.
That's it. Tell David you're going to have to spend more money, get better equipment.
Yeah, he's got to make some more money. So
you know what you need to get is those little mics that plug into your phone. That's what I ordered.
Yeah, they've got them that have windshields too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna end this up here and I want to say a thank you to Michael Danger. You're absolutely right. That was some of the biggest protests in the history of the country, and as I said earlier, we did the math, 1 in 44 Americans. So next time you're at the grocery store and you see 44 Americans, one of them went to a rally.
And that doesn't mean that they're not on the left. It just means that they went to the rally, because there were Republicans there too.
Yeah, and let me defend Chicago and San Francisco. Those are two absolutely great cities. I can't afford to live in San Francisco, but man, it's a fun place to just walk around.
Yeah.
And Minneapolis is not a shithole, so by any means.
Okay, folks, catch us on trailmix.cc. We'll be going there right away, right next. Yeah, we'll be there. And then we're back here 11 a.m. Eastern every day. Get our alerts so you know when we're live. And talk to you later.
Have a good day, everybody.
Here's my part of my sizzle reel from yesterday, and then some other videos from past protests here in D.C., including the last No King.
They're all waiting and reflecting for you, and they're filling up all the ground around the Washington Monument, and then behind us, there's the Lincoln Memorial.
This is what democracy looks like.
Well, here's Bannon's plan for why ICE is at the airport.
What's happening with these ICE helping out at the airports? We can use this as a test run, as a test case to really perfect ICE's involvement in the 26 midterm elections.
I mean, he just goes right there. I mean, it's like, oh, we're practicing to take over the elections at the airports.
That when we see ICE, that we sing Radiohead's Creep. You're a creep, you're a weirdo. What the hell are you doing here? You don't belong here.
You see, you hear him say, call 911 right now. As Joe Scarborough said this morning, she didn't call Antifa. She was calling the police to protect her from the federal government.
You can't trust me. I'm
And she is a citizen. She was not obstructing. She was an observer, as a lot of people have been doing, and they're great Americans and patriots, if you ask me.
No, it's estimated there was 100,000 people yesterday, up from about 50,000 from the week before. And I will tell you, I think yesterday's protest was more of a mix of left and right people who believe in the Second Amendment and don't believe that he should have been killed, that he could bear arms.
Freedom of access to clinic entrances and places of religious work. So this comes from it's like a 1994 law that was intended to prosecute abortion clinic protesters, but it also was made applicable to places of worship. And then here's the language. Make this a little bigger for us to see. Can we see that? I'll make the screen bigger too. And the language of the act is it prohibits let's go through, this is what they have to prove, the use or threat of force.
And physical obstruction.
Nurses and professionals, completely inconsiderate. They're starting to infiltrate the media here too. One of them founded Integration TV and spent years telling positive stories about Somali life. That makes it much harder for people to stereotype. The whole thing was so disturbing that Ontario named a high school after her. And they stick their nose everywhere, building community institutions like settlement agencies and youth programs, English classes, job training. In Ottawa, Somali organizations raise money for Syrian refugees, former refugees helping new refugees. What the hell is even that? Toronto's now getting a 100,000 square foot Somali center for culture and recreation. It's going to have sports gyms and art spaces and employment services, and they're going to let everyone use it, even the white people. Listen,